Are the Montreal Canadiens going to get their revenge? Or will Stevie Y and his wings strike when the iron is hot? You know, I don't have a plan for this video. And that's a bad thing, because when I was in radio school, one of my great professors, his name was Gord Eno, he said that for every piece of content that you do, an audio broadcast, commentary, on-air segment, a commercial, an article, anything, whatever it is that you do, you have to have a point. Have a point. Anytime you use your voice, your words, you build up the theory of the mind with the person that is listening to you, you need to have a point. You need to have a destination where your listener is going to go. That's the point of storytelling. But honestly, I don't really have a point in this commentary. I'm sorry. I'm making this video, though, because, hey, the Detroit Red Wings are playing later today. It's their first NHL game of the season. And they're playing off against the Montreal Canadiens, who just played off yesterday against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they lost. So I kind of wanted to do the pre-game video thing, even though this doesn't really have any sort of format or structure like a lot of our other videos do. I just wanted to go off the vibes, and I wanted to respond to what some fans of both of these teams are thinking of at the moment. Because for the Montreal Canadiens, I can say that Habs fans seem to be kind of at peace. Sure, there are some fans that are kind of freaking out about yesterday. Montreal versus Toronto, the Habs lost 5-2. 5-2 makes it seem a lot worse than it really was. The Habs were close. They were in it the entire game up until the end. 2 empty net goals by Matthews and Nylander, by the way. But there have been a bunch of notes from yesterday's game that Canadiens fans seem to be bringing up here and there. Folks debating on Patrik Laine, for example. Hey, that guy wasn't on the first power play, and that guy was on the 4th forward line. What exactly is there to give here? Does Patty Laine deserve a higher spot in the lineup? Was he responsible for the empty net goal scored where he was chasing down the puck but Austin Matthews beat him to it? There are going to be folks debating whether or not Laine actually was useful in yesterday's game, and that does bleed into the power play as well. This is going to be an area that we have to watch over the next few games, and especially in this upcoming, because Montreal ran with a very different power play compared to what we're used to. The Habs had a first unit of Slafkovsky, Suzuki, Bolduc, Caulfield, and Hudson. And some of the positions of these guys were kind of weird. Slafkovsky wasn't the bumper guy anymore. That was Bolduc. Slafkovsky instead was posted up on the right side for a 1T, which I think a lot of Canadiens fans can agree isn't really his specialty. Bolduc in the bumper is interesting, to say the least, and it didn't really prove effective in yesterday's contest. Meanwhile, the second unit for Montreal's power play had Gallagher, Doc Demidov, Laine, and Dobson. And there are a number of things that you can discuss when it comes to that. Firstly, does Ivan Demidov deserve to be on power play too? Probably not. Secondly, Patrik Laine, does he deserve to be on power play too? Based off the goals he scored last year? You can say no, and it would make sense. However, I do think there are some things that will need to bend but not break if we want to analyze how the Canadiens' power play looks. Because I do recall, partway through the summer, Patrik Laine did say to the media that, hey, he prefers having a right-handed defenseman feeding him the puck from the blue line over to his side on the Ovechkin spot to get him that one-timer. Not that Lane Hudson is bad, but Laine just prefers a righty throwing him the puck for the 1T instead of a lefty. And that does match with what the Canadiens have right now with Noah Dobson running that bottom power play. Now, as for Patrik Laine being on the second unit over a guy like Zach Bolduc, you can say that if Montreal wanted to stack up their first power play, they could do that. They could do Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Laine, Hudson. Or if you wanted to swap out Slafkovsky for Demidov, that actually would be interesting too. There would be ways for Montreal to throw all of their top guys on power play 1. But because Bolduc is on that unit instead, it opens the door to saying that, yeah, Montreal does have 2 power plays of equal talent that they want to distribute evenly. Even though the problem is that doesn't really happen. The second unit rarely gets any minutes anyways, so we'll see whether or not this does become something that St. Louis changes as the games go on. It's one game. Montreal lost in regulation, but they looked fine, so obviously Canadiens fans are not going to be clamoring for the end of the world right now, but still. There have been some folks going out there and debating the power play formation and Patrik Laine's usage as well. Also debating whether or not he actually was useful in yesterday's contest against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Meanwhile, heading over to the Detroit Red Wings, we said it at the beginning of the video, are the Canadiens going to get their revenge and bounce back with a win? Or are the Detroit Red Wings going to step in there and say, hey, this Habs team is vulnerable right now. They're coming off of a hard-fought game wherein they did not get the result they wanted, so their morale should be down there in the dumps. Let's take advantage of it, people. Night in, night out, it's a back-to-back game for Montreal. Detroit should be coming in here with some steam. The game will be held in Detroit, Michigan, so of course, this will be quite the journey for the Canadiens, traveling from Toronto over to Detroit. Right now, the Red Wings are favored as the winners, minus 126 to Montreal's 105, and we will see whether or not that holds up. The Detroit Red Wings, by the way, they had themselves their opening night roster post from yesterday, which was greeted with a lot of enthusiasm from Detroit Red Wings fans. Just a quick update here. On the forwards, you've got Andrew Kopp, Appleton, Raymond, Rasmussen, Brunzig, Newgard, Comfort, Berggren, Finnie, Larkin, Soderblom, Kane, Kasper, and DeBrincat. Non-roster, you have James Van Riemsdyk. So that makes sense. He's not going to be playing because he missed out on the entire preseason, which is okay. He's a veteran guy, and he had some family issues to deal with. Hey, he's got twins now, which is amazing. Big congratulations over to the Van Riemsdyks. But with JVR's absence from the on-ice lineup means there's more room for these younger guys to come in here and do some work. Brunzig, Newgard, and Finnie, these spots on the team are yours to cater to and cultivate. And if they're so good, then it could spell the end of some other Detroit Red Wings top forwards when Nate Danielson comes back, for example. What am I kidding? We'll get to that bridge when we get there. But for now, lots of youthful excitement for the Detroit Red Wings, even on the back end. Axel Sandin Pellikka, Albert Johansson, Simon Edvinsson, all these Swedish dudes coming in here and looking like effective NHL pieces. It'll be very, very fun for the Detroit Red Wings to get things started on the right foot against a team that's a little bit vulnerable in Montreal at this point. So for the Red Wings, let's just see how the Yzerplan fares in Game 1. Emmitt Finnie could be the next coming of the best in Detroit, especially out of a 7th rounder. Don't want to make it seem like he's got too high of an expectation on him, but there have been some 7th round guys that have been very good in the past by Detroit. Let's just say that. So we'll be, of course, talking about the game after it happens. Montreal-Detroit is on at 4 p.m. Pacific over here where I'm at, and 7 p.m. in the Eastern Conference. So if you enjoyed this video, firstly, hit the like button. If you didn't enjoy this video, hit the dislike button. But also, if you enjoyed this video, we'll be back here talking about everything that happened in the post-game coverage video we'll make. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd really appreciate it if you got involved there. But ultimately, this is going to be the start of a new year for Detroit, and hopefully a bounce back for Montreal. Okay, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm also a Wings fan, so, yeah, I hope it's a 5-5 overtime shootout game that inevitably becomes 6-5 because of some crazy dangles. Thoughts in the comment section below about this upcoming game. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.